All right. Obviously excited this week to come off a win. Proud of the guys for what they did. Excited to get ready to play Michigan, play a Big Ten team at home. Excellent team, number 2 team in the country for a reason. So great opportunity for us, experience for us. We'll have to see tomorrow, Heinrich and Jeff, in terms of who can, how they practice. Obviously, Heinrich didn't finish the game. We don't think it's much, but I reserve judgment until I see him, see where Jeff's at. So we have a full picture on that. And Luke Reimer, still would be questionable for the game as we sit here right now. So we'll see where he's at. With that, I'll see what questions you guys have.
Coach, how do you look at this Michigan game and kind of make the team look at it as a huge opportunity to do something really cool instead of more of a challenge going up against the number 2 team in the nation?
Yeah, we're going to play every team we play. No one came to the University of Nebraska to not play good teams. We started off with a tough schedule. We played on the road the first game. We started off with had some tough breaks in that game. Had a touchdown before the half. We thought maybe you never heard us complain about anything. We're not here to complain. We're not here to make excuses. We're here to play good football and win. We went to Colorado, top 25 team at the time. Probably still are. I haven't seen it. Played them. We're just going to play every week and battle. So. This is a great opportunity. We have good players. We expect our players to play well. This game will be about blocking and tackling, covering, getting open, making throws. So we'll just play it and do that for every week for 8 weeks and see what happens.
You guys are number 6 in rush offense and number 1 in rush defense. What does that say about your team at this point?
Well, it's a step in the right direction for the blueprint of what we want to do. I'm not a super big stats guy in that. I think sometimes they can be misleading. But I do think it for a team that was, I think, 108th last year in rush defense, and it's not like we played we played a Big Ten team, we played a Pac-12 team, we faced a team in Northern Illinois, so we faced some good teams. I think it's trending in the right direction. This is a team that's going to come in that's going to try to prove a point on the ground against you and run the ball at you, and so guys have to be up for the challenge. But just from a 50,000-foot view, what we're doing, the blueprint that we want to have is moving in that direction. So we just have to keep accelerating it each week.
What does it say about the practices, especially those Tuesday and Wednesday practices, and their effectiveness in achieving what you want?
Yeah, I get a little animated on the sideline sometimes. And we had a play late in the last game where one of our players overran. It's all we talk about is tracking the near hip and our angles. Overran a play, and I screamed at him like, all those spring practices and all those fall camp practices for that, and again, we had the game won, and I'm kind of challenging the guys to have a little fun with them, but we believe that everything that happens in the game happens in practice, good and bad. So, we're going to build this program by developing, and that comes through practice, by challenging our guys. Even something as silly as we practice on Wednesday nights, the last 2 weeks down on the grass fields. We take a break, we go in the locker room, we come back upstairs. We go in the stadium. We did that for multiple reasons, but even when we went out after the weather delay, it was like, hey, this is team compete, man. Let's treat it like a Wednesday night. So, I think what we're asking the guys to do is working in some ways. We just have to stay with it, until it comes fully to fruition.
The blueprint that Michigan has used to get to the playoff the last few years, physicality, all of that. How much is that in line with the way that you want to build this?
Everything. You think about when Coach Harbaugh first came in, was taking over, after, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 coaches, and I don't ever want to be, but, a couple of years of not being a great program after being a great program, and he recruited. I remember I worked one of his camps when I was the head coach at the Temple. You guys probably don't remember, but he was the guy that started the satellite camps, right? And it was a big controversy at the time, right? He was the first person to go at 12:01 to someone's house in recruiting. So I did that then. I didn't like doing it, but I did it because he was doing it. So he's had a real impact on the game. But his sometimes I'll have recruits say to me like, "Well, Coach, are we going to be good?" And what should I go to Michigan? I'm like, "Well, he did it, so that's what we're doing." So. So his blueprint for building that program for the way that they play, a lot of those things are similar. Obviously we want to have a little bit of an option element at times too, so there's differences, but the overall arching blueprint for being great on the O&D lines, having good quarterback play, being physical with tight end, all those things, that's what we're doing.
I know you were really proud of Anthony on his pickup on the touchdown do you think overall he and Emmett Johnson did, when the ball wasn't in their hands on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought it was good. We just did the TV show. I know we had 3 sacks. A couple of those were just an RPO where it's not there. Like Heinrich's just got to hand the ball off or get outside the pocket and just throw it away. As I said to him, like don't start being something you're not, man. Like please don't be that guy. Heinrich, just if the play's not there, we as a team, I hope we've all learned just don't make a bad play worse. So we took a sack late in the game and 4 minute on a play we never should take a sack on. So as I tell our team, forget about this who we're playing this week. Just as I tell our team, just because you win doesn't mean there's not the same issues that you had when you lost. And so to answer your question, I thought they did a good job. I thought they did a good job. We missed one blitz pickup, and Heinrich had to get outside the pocket and throw it away. It was a pretty exotic blitz package from Louisiana Tech, and they'll be tested this week. This is these guys on defense, Coach Minter and all those guys. They know they know protections. So we'll have to do some things with the backs, with the quarterback in the run game too on third downs maybe. But I thought our tailbacks did a good job.
Hey, Coach, what kind of growth have you seen from Bryce Benhart, just year over year, from what you saw before and what you're seeing now?
Obviously I can't talk about too much beyond. I just what I saw from him last year. I think he's playing well. I think he's those guys are doing what's asked of them. I think when you add the option component in, that adds a lot to the offensive line. There's a lot of understand the box counts and who the read key is and the pitch key is and all those different things. But I think Bryce is playing well, and they're certainly going to get tested this weekend with the edge players that Michigan has. But I think all those guys in the offensive line, they come in every day, they work, they battle, they get in the games, they fight. Again, because of kind of the way we play offense, you get to some games and it's a little different than what you expected, right? So they have to kind of adjust early in the game to see how people are playing us. And I think Bryce is one of those guys who does a great job at that.
What goes into having Tommy Hill play 18 snaps of receiver? How did that evolve? How did that situation evolve?
Yeah, I just love Tommy Hill. I think he's explosive. I think he's dynamic. I think he's tough. I think he's smart. He was about to take that kickoff return to the house. Now we got the holding call. He was about to take that kickoff return to the house. He fumbled it. And he's the first guy who's like, hey, that's on me. That's terrible, coach. So I just think when you have good players, you use them, right? So he was going to be a starting corner. He got hurt. He's kind of a rotational corner for us. He just works twice as hard. So he's helping us on offense. Initially, it was kind of as a big play threat. And then last week we just started using him more. Hey, you're practicing on offense, you're practicing on defense. So if I have a good player, I'm going to try to use him as much as possible. So he has the mind. A lot of guys couldn't do it. He has the mindset and the competitiveness and the intelligence to do it.
Does he split his rep like 50-50 during practice, or is he skewed one way more now?
Probably a little more on offense, depending on the period, right? He's going to go over in some of the passing periods on defense. So we're because I have a good staff, I try to skew the periods where this is sort of more of a Tommy focus on offense, Tommy focus on defense. I have a young freshman who's redshirting. We're already starting to do it with him. I just think when you have good players, you try to utilize them. So,
Coach, going up against the offensive line, going up against that run defense that you guys have, and number one right now, how much of a benefit is that preparing for what Michigan is going to throw at you guys in terms of blitzing and all that?
Yeah, I believe that iron sharpens iron. I believe you get better at practice. I think going against each other has helped us. Because we go against each other on, even on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we compete against each other. So I think that's really helped us. Michigan's as good a team up front in terms of their defensive line, in terms of getting off blocks. They're not trying to really fool you necessarily. They will pressure you. But, they are as good a team in terms of playing with their hands, and you think you have a window and they get off. And so you have to be content with 2 and 3 and 4 yard runs, right? And you have to get your backs to run hard, and there's not going to be gaping holes against Michigan. It's not going to happen. It's going to be kind of that type of a game. So our guys get better from practice. I also think our guys get better from the trade teams that we have. When you can recruit a bunch of really good players and they're not necessarily playing, and you're willing to rotate guys through, or have guys take some scout team reps, I think it helps them, but also really helps your starters.
What have you been most impressed with along the defensive line?
These are really good questions. You guys are making me think. I think on the defensive line, I think I think we're playing with more extension. We're getting off blocks. We're finishing line movements. The communication. Dealing with, hey, they're in this set. I think all those things have gotten significantly better. I think we get off blocks better than we had earlier. So I think the guys are doing a good job of that in the run game, and they play hard. That's one thing about our guys. They play really, really hard up front.
Is Nebraska getting closer to playing more at left tackle, or what does that picture look like right now?
Yeah, we got the guy. We got Turner's a starter. Teddy has a role. We just keep bringing him along every week. Every week we say who gives us the best chance to win. Right now they're kind of in the roles that they're in, and we'll see how this week goes. But Teddy's healthy. It's just a matter. For a while we're just getting him back, getting his feet wet. But each week we're just going to play who we think gives us the best chance that week.
How much has Lindenmeyer been kind of an unsung guy, but helped you out on getting some things going?
I thought this week it was Lindenmeyer was the guy. I mean, I think he's really, really, he's a big man. He's really, really good in tight, confined spaces of getting his hands and running his feet. So a lot of the runs we ran last week were off tackle runs, right? Like we ran the Teddy and Lindenmeyer at the point of attack power, off tackle power. We ran the off tackle toss play, which is I've never run that play before. That's 40-41 pitch. That's Coach Ron Brown had to teach me that play, and so he's been fighting for that play forever. So I've never seen a guy happier on the sideline in my life, because that's a true old Nebraska play, right? But Luke's making those plays go because of his ability to block at the point of attack. And when you watch Michigan, one of the things they're great at is their defensive ends at the point of attack versus tight ends. So we have a lot of guys that we trust. We'll use a tackle. We'll use some other guys. We have to play well. But Luke's really done a nice job for us and helped us add a component to our offense.
Coach, now that you've gotten 2 full games with Heinrich as your starter, what's impressed you most when you've gone back and watched these out there?
I think Heinrich's done a good job of obviously running the option, running the zone reads, running the speed options. A lot of them he's keeping right now, so sometimes I don't know if people know it's the option, but it is. He's just kind of keeping the ball and running for big runs. He's done a good job of communication in the huddle. The same problems are still there. We still dropped the snap on the first drive of the third quarter. We scored a touchdown. We still just reached down instead of falling on us, reached down to pick it up, and he scampered. So we still have a lot of coaching to do, and I can only say that because Heinrich is such a team guy. He recognizes it. So he's a young player. He's going to make good plays. He's going to make some mistakes. I just like the way he's kind of got the mindset that we preach about what's next. Like whatever happened, come back the next play. It's really great when you have guys who aren't sensitive that you can coach. You don't have to worry about how you say it to them. And Heinrich, he's that guy. So, we can coach him. And I thought in the passing game, hitting that seam route to Billy in the 2 minute before the half, I thought he did some things, finding Fedoni on the touchdown. He did some really good things. There were some other things we left out there that I thought we could have made. So just keep accelerating him week after week. And if he's playing, we expect him to play well.
Back to the drive right before halftime, you went into halftime with 2 timeouts left. Is that how you wanted that sequence to unfold, or would you have done something differently managing the clock?
No, I thought. I know it felt weird. I know the crowd was getting antsy. At the very least, I did not want to give them the ball back. I didn't want to risk them, coming after a punt. They got a good returner, so I wanted to get the first down. That play that went to the huddle and took a little bit of time. Maybe that was, maybe we would have just gotten the ball and run a play. But I felt like once we got the first down, the thing would be tilted in our favor, and we had enough timeouts to be able to manage that. Maybe would I have done it differently? I don't know. I don't really get that option, But I did feel like, we got down close enough field goal that we should make. I trust Tristan can make that field goal. Tristan's good, he's going to keep. We're going to keep kicking him till he gets comfortable and makes the kicks. And I thought that was managed fine for the situation that we're kind of where we are right now in that game. I wanted to get that first down. Because when you think about it, we talk a lot about that middle eight, the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half. We had the ball coming out of half. We go down. If we make that field goal, we scored on the first drive coming out. That's a 10-point swing. And so, to me, that's how you win games. You go all the way back to Minnesota. We go down. We score a touchdown. We don't get it right. We end up throwing the pick, so it doesn't work out for us. But then we come out. We score the first drive coming out of the half. So those 10 and 14-point swings to me are how you win games when you're facing good teams. I was glad to see Heinrich operate in that 2 minutes. I was glad to see him find the seam because, they hadn't played really a lot of cover three, so that we're expecting these other coverages. They come out in cover three, he finds a seam route. So that was really good reps for him. So, as he continues, I keep telling the guys, as they continue to play well and they continue to show us what they can do, the more you open things up and let the guys go. So that was really good to see him do that.
Have you picked up with Heinrich on how people outside of here, in the stadium on Saturday and outside feel about him, whether it's style of play, personality, where he's from? I mean, do you get the sense of kind of like what's happened these last 2 weeks with him?
No, I don't. I can't pay attention to that. If I ever started to pay attention to that, I would lose the moral high ground with the rest of the players. I remember years ago I was coach of the year at Temple, and we're walking down the street, and I had some guy be like, "Coach, we love you," and I remember looking at Bryant saying, "Is that real?" And he said, "What?" I said, "Is that real?" He said, "No." I said, because he sat in the stadium last year and heard me booed. So, I think it's important for our players to understand, like, it's we love it when people love us. We love it when people support us. But it's hard being the starting quarterback. There's going to be a time when everyone's upset with you. You know what I mean? Like, so the best players play, and I can't ever let it be anything other than that. Even to sense it, right? Like, it's a great story right now. I don't want to. I hope I don't see his face on. I joked around last week. I don't want to see a Harburger at one of the local restaurants. I want him to play quarterback when he's playing quarterback. And Jeff's seen it both sides too, right? Jeff. I've seen both sides of it. So that's not about the outside world. I'm not saying anybody else. I'm saying about our guys here. Like, just focus on today. The guys on our team that aren't playing to the level they're capable of, a lot of them are worried about things other than just like football. Make everything football and things will work out for you. And I show them, they think I'm corny. I show them every Kobe Bryant video possible. I show them but like, we all have a craft, master your craft. So I'm sure it's a great story for right now, but if, we'll see how it is on Sunday if he plays. So I just want him focused on football.
So how do you think he's dealt with that?
I think he's been.
How have you seen him deal with the eyes on him?
Yeah, I only see them here, right? Like, I don't see them outside. He seems like he's been great about it, but again, we talk a lot about what we think the guys should do, but they have to do it, and so seems like it's been great, but we have to kind of go from there. We have to kind of figure out what it is. I have no concerns about that with him, though. He seems like a pretty humble kid, from everything I've seen. So, but again, it's all fleeting. It's day by day, man. You gotta perform today, and you gotta perform every single day that you're out there.
Just to be clear, so your approach with the quarterbacks this week is, how do you manage that this week?
But I play the guy I think gives us the best chance to win. So it's unique in that I have a guy that was the starter that, couldn't finish the game really, and then I had another guy that was a starter this past game that couldn't finish the game. So I had two quarterbacks that couldn't finish the game. So for me to sit up here on a Monday and say this is what's happening, maybe this isn't like gamesmanship. Both guys do the same thing really. So it's not like it's. I just my job is to get everybody ready because Chubba was going into the game as the number 3 and he was down there at the end of the game playing, right? So we get Chubba reps. Everything we do is reps, because I don't know who's going to play. I don't know who the hero is going to be this week. I don't know who the hero is going to be next week. So I don't know. So we just try to split the reps because we get so many reps because we're always doing multiple drills. It's the Nebraska way and we do it. So that helps us as opposed to most teams.
I'm sure the answer is all, but is there an order of concern when it comes to Michigan's offense, the thing that you're looking at first to stop, and the receivers and tight ends that concern you on their team?
They're all excellent players, and I think when you look at a team like Michigan, I think you look at everybody that they have, the great backs that they have, but quarterback, is an excellent player. He can beat you with his feet. Just when you think you're going to overload the box, he can pull his own read down. He can run a quarterback bounce play. He can spin it. So it's an excellent offense, well put together with a great offensive line, great tight ends, great backs. So they'll challenge every single aspect of everything that you do defensively because they're not afraid to say, hey, we're going to run this ball and get it to the unblocked player. And they expect the standard for them is, hey, you got to make that guy miss. And if he tackles you once, you got to make him miss the next time. And so that's the way we look at football. And when we've had big plays, it's a play like Heinrich where the guy's unblocked, he makes the miss, and he scores a touchdown. So I'd say any and all. You know, they're good at what they do. It'll be a challenge for our guys, a good one.
What about their quarterback, McCarthy, though? Just what have you seen from him that makes him arguably the best quarterback in the Big Ten right now?
Well, I mean, I think they have a great passing game. He's got tremendous protection, so he's got time, and he operates on time. He knows where to go with the football. Like, you know, you play man against him, he goes to the route they think is, you know, that they designed to beat man. He attacks coverages. As I said, he's excellent with his feet too. So he's a dual threat quarterback that plays as a pro style quarterback, but when he needs to, he can run. And he's got poise. You know, the game's never too big for him. So, you know, I've watched a lot of tape on them. I've watched them last year. I've watched them this year, and I think he's. You know, they've beaten 2, 3-1 teams. Or, you know, they've beaten 2 teams that are undefeated other than playing them, and they beat them pretty soundly. So, he's played against good competition. He's just good at everything he does.
Does play with Corum remind you of anyone? Like,
Corum's an excellent player. I don't know who I'd say necessarily. I mean, I think he's got elite burst, vision, lateral quickness. He's tough to tackle. I think a lot of people make the mistake. They try, you know, you try to tackle him low, you're going to bounce off his legs. So, who that is, you know, I'm not great at those kind of things. I'm sorry, but you know, he possesses a lot of traits that make him hard to tackle and hard to defend.
You rotate a lot of guys at those linebacker spots. What have you seen collectively from that group?
Well, I mean, I think you know, at the 2 inside linebacker positions, not counting necessarily the jack. You know, the jacks all kind of do a little something different, and so we try to utilize those guys based upon what we're doing. The other guys, you know, Javen kind of comes in on third down a lot to cover, and you know, they play hard, they're physical, they tackle. I think Nick's got his feet underneath him right now. We've played a lot of those guys because if we get in a situation like this where we're not sure if Luke is ready to go, we have other guys who have a lot of reps. You know, I just always feel like there's nothing worse than asking a guy to go in and play in the fourth quarter when he's been standing there all game. There's nothing worse than asking a guy to go start game 6 when he hasn't played. So we played a lot of guys. And when you face a team like this that's physical, that's going to run the ball right at you, you know, you better have guys that are ready to go and other guys that are ready to step in. So, yeah, I think the linebacker group's played well, and they have to play well again this Saturday.
How do you build toughness, not just physical toughness, but mental toughness in the course of the season?
Throughout the season, or yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that comes to the off season. You know, I believe that I could talk for hours on this, but I believe that toughness is a skill. You know, I believe it's a muscle. I don't believe it's something you're innately born with. I don't believe that. You know, I believe it's a skill, and so I think there's a great book by Steve Magnus called "Do Hard Things," and I think that great coaches and great organizations, you know, just kind of scaffold and just give guys hard things to do that they're capable of doing. The old school, like, make them do things so hard that they quit's not really what it's supposed to be. But, you know, we've tried to be a team that, you know, asks our guys to do things that are just well within their range, but that are really hard, and teach them that there's a positive application for pain and to embrace the things that are hard. And then eventually that mindset starts to flip. The modern day, like, you know, protect your kids from going through hard things it's not good in my opinion. So, but it's not this caveman approach of, you know, just cuss the guys out and beat them up. It's about keeping everything within their proximal range of like, hey, you can do this. Never ask them something they can't do, but consistently stretching their comfort zone. How do you do that within the season? You know, you have to blend sports science with mental toughness, and understanding that because of the attention that's on what these guys do, that is in and of itself as much, you know, if I can make them all just turn off their social media mentions, I would, but I can't. So, you know, that is one of the hardest things. You have to build mental toughness so that they can withstand. You know, one day, you know, everyone says something great about you, then the next day it's not. And so, but I do think it's about our entire off-season approach. It's really, Sam, everything that we do is to build a toughness and a resilience that builds players up, not beats them down. And that's why everyone's the shame to me in society now is people think of coaches always as like, almost like, you know, people that are on the attack, and because there are some that are like that. But great coaches scaffold and build and take just keep bringing players to just a level just beyond what they think they're capable of, and then you look up one day and they're so much better, and they're so much stronger, and they're so much more mentally tough. And so, last thing I'll say, and then this is probably way too long, but I like that question like this. I believe that mental toughness in today's day and age is really also about just being present. The ability to be where you are, the ability to be in the moment. And that's one of the things that I keep challenging our guys. Some of our players aren't playing at the level they're always capable of because they're like a play ahead. Like the play starts and they're already trying to do what they think is going to happen instead of just being in the moment. Like, hey guys, just catch the snap. Hey guys, just put your eyes on the receiver. Just do exactly what you're trained to do. And so as teams get good and as they get confident, they stop worrying less about everything that's happening around them. They start being more in the moment. So that's Dr. Haskell, that's Corey, that's the coaches, and that's also the players, the commitment they make to their mental health and mental strength, competitive mindset.
Yeah, follow-up to that. How do you balance the necessity for mental toughness, but also the necessity for mental health?
Well, I think it's the same. That's what I'm saying. I think of mental health as a continuum, right? So on one end you have elite, competitive mindset, and on the other end, probably you would have, and this isn't my take, this is, the Dr. Perry at the Carolina or Dr. Haskell, true mental illness, and then we're all always somewhere in the continuum, right? So we tell our guys, man, if you broke your leg, you're going to see the trainer, right? And if you're sore, you go see the recovery guys, right? And if even when you're feeling great, we still ask you to get in the ice and make sure your body's being taken care of. Well, it's the same thing with your mental health and mental wellness and mental approach, right? When you're really struggling, you see somebody, but when you're kind of going along, we're still working constantly on our mindset and our mental health and our mental approach and the way we see things. And then in our anxiety, a guy like me, like I struggle with anxiety. I sit there and can't sleep at night. I sit there and, man, what's going to happen? And that's just football. Imagine my kids, imagine my son, I just try to talk openly with our guys about, man, I struggle with worried about what's next and trying to be in the moment. So whether it's taking 2 days a week and doing mindfulness with the players to make sure we're building that skill of being present, or if it's having these resources, I think all of that is one continuum as well as health. And so if these things over here are struggling, it's really hard to deal with this. And then we want to have an organization where we know what's going on with the players. It's really hard to be present. It's really hard to be mentally tough when, your mom's sick at home, when, someone in your family just, had something happen to you. So we don't want to be an organization that's football only. And so we try to have a welcoming presence where guys know that within our building they can be psychologically safe. They can talk about the things that they have going on. They have resources. They have people that care about them. So I think that's our job. I think the football is the fun part. The real job is making sure these guys' lives are okay, and again, in today's day and age, it's not just it's their mental health. It's the decisions they make. And so we're constantly working on that. Mental toughness is not beating players down. That's what people think. It's not that. It's building them. You don't build muscle by not lifting. You know what I mean? You don't build muscle by saying, hey, you're strong. You build muscle by lifting. And so I believe we build mental toughness by doing hard things that are in our proximal range, and we just get better and better and better and better. And I read about it so that I can adequately try to explain it to players, and then I let Dr. Haskell and the experts actually really talk about it. So